Okay, all right. We are back once again to the Tavern Friends, and we are with a full crew tonight after a couple weeks. Thankfully, we have Logan back. Of course, Connor is still here, and our wonderful Noxy boy is racked out. He was actually twitching just recently, like 2 seconds ago. He was having a full-ass run-and dream or something. He was like... Anyway, yeah, it's also been, not only has it been a while since Logan's been here, but we also took, I think, last week off for some different scheduling things, and so it's good to be back here. And tonight we'll be talking about creating compelling characters, and I'm actually really excited about this because nothing is more fun to talk about than creating characters, though as DMs we never get to do it, and so we're just going to tell you about the hypothetics of actually being able to do it and what we do to do it, to build our characters out. And so but real quick, actually, for a little bit of cool, fun little side note, there actually is, I added a couple of Stream Elements chat commands in Twitch, which I will do. So yeah, you can do...
That's exactly what we needed.
Yes, and so if you do !Nox, it'll tell you a little bit about Homie, and then it'll tell you how to pet him, which is also a fucking dope thing. So now you viewers at home can pet our lovely Tavern Pupper, which I will actually do this. I know Gray. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I like how sloppy hope. Yeah, it is a tavern, huh? All right.
Okay, don't hate on my
right
username already.
Rip, man.
Hell yeah.
Look.
There you go, Corey. Nice. Welcome in, Corey, by the way. Good to have you here, buddy. Alrighty. Yes, sir. Anyway, so as you can see, I did the command a lot to make sure it's all good and tested. So he's been pet quite a few times by me and now by the homies. But yeah, we will just jump right into this thing. Unless there's anything you guys have for the betterment of the group. I know Sunday I'll probably play this at the end too, but Sunday we'll be doing our maybe finale, Connor.
Look, if I say it's the finale, we're guaranteeing that it is not the finale.
That's true. Well, another episode.
If it, we'll see.
All right.
But Red Meyer, regardless, yeah.
I like it. Yeah, Red Meyer Sunday. But tonight, talking about creating characters. And to start this off, we will be jumping in with the question, how do you guys typically start with your character creation process? Do you do in and build out or out and build in? I don't know if you guys are familiar with those terms. Mm-hmm. Essentially, do you build like their personality and internal things, and then you like build out like the class and like race, etc., or do you do the opposite and go race, class, stuff like that, and then build in? Either one of you, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, we're talking again about specifically when we're making our own player characters.
Player characters, yes.
Right, okay. For all of those, it's kind of like, it's either like when we were doing the Frost Trail or something, like, you asked me to make we asked you to jump in and do a campaign, or if we're being more honest, we bother you to let us into one. And then, but no, I think really it's kind of just like, it kind of comes from two places. It's either I'm kind of sitting there not really thinking of anything, maybe watching a show or something, then something strikes me as interesting, and I immediately springboard off that, and the next 5 hours are manic, as I just go out and figure out how, like, oh, I could do this, and then that, and then you have to figure out, oh, but I want, like, it's D&D, so I have to make those skills transferable to D&D, and then you just go mad scientist with it. Or you could do what I did in that campaign and go, I want to make a certain type of build, and then I go pretty much the opposite ways. I want to go for these skills. Then as I'm making those skills, and I think the biggest thing for me is once I find out what race makes sense, is kind of where I'll immediately swerve off of, just stats. It's like, well, if I want to do that race, I want to do this class. How do those make sense? And then like just that one connection from there, you kind of start making a character, and then a different type of a little bit more, a more calculated, I guess, approach to making a character happens, which is kind of what I did when I made Veerden. So I knew what class I wanted, I found out what race I wanted, and it was weird, and then I just kind of made that make sense. I made a character right from that.
Okay, so would you say you generally go out in, or just kind of depends?
Mostly it's manic, yeah, and mostly it's the former. It's mostly me just going like, I'll be watching a show and just like that one line that one character said was funny, and then I just kind of make a character off that about 7 hours later.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I'm sure you can relate to this, Logan. I've been watching My Hero Academia, and I was like, how would I make All Might as a D&D character? And so I was thinking about that shit, and I was like, you could go multiple different ways. I don't know.
Oh yeah, my Star Wars 5e character was, I was watching a bunch of One Piece at the time, and I was like, Zoro as a D&D character, man. How can I do this?
Yeah.
If I've seen One Piece, that statement would make sense. I'm just confused.
It's okay, bro. You're out of touch. But go ahead, Logan. What do you really do?
A lot of the times I like to develop my characters and like their story before I go outwards in, unless like there's been a very few times where I've been going for very specific builds, and then I'll have all of my books open in front of me, open to like different classes, different races, feats open, and I'm like, okay, like what can I haven't been able to be a player in forever. What can I do? But most of the time I like to do like a personality, and then I like to build around that.
Oh, by the way, for the viewers, when he says build a class, he means min-max the fuck out of whatever he can possibly cross-reference.
Oathbreaker, Hex Blade Paladin, Hungering Blades, fucking Relentless Hex. Dude, I literally spent 10 hours building that character because our DM was like, I'm gonna kill you guys, I guarantee it. And I was like, do you now?
Oh, he said, watch this.
10 hours. I spent 10 hours going through every single thing.
The DM can always kill you. Your job is to make it really hard on him to justify it.
I had that character for 3 years, and then I willfully stepped out RP-wise, where I was like, yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice myself for this. And I was like, I never went down, motherfucker.
He said, I didn't die, you died.
Yeah. I killed the swarm of Tarask you sent after me at level 5.
Exactly, man. No, I like to build outwards in, though. When I was building up Morello, I built out the personality for Morello, and then I ended up picking out like Morello's race, and then while writing my backstory, I had decided on my classes, like both the classes I was going to do, like while writing the backstory.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think for me, I'm definitely more of an. It's kind of, and we'll touch on this as our next piece, but I'm more of like an inward out, except for one thing, and I guess I'll kind of bleed into the next topic, which we can get into. But I usually like to figure out the class, and then that is the only outward thing that I do before I then go inward, and only because that is usually kind of how it shapes my character's backstory, like what he was doing, because the class is obviously the biggest relevance when it comes to a backstory.
Right.
And so that's kind of what I usually do. But I like to do inward out. I like to kind of figure out who they are as a person, and then kind of grab things from the player's handbook and whatnot, and then have it kind of all come together. Because I find that when you actually like, it's easier to make a personality you want to play and a character you want to play when it comes to like mannerisms and whatnot match other things, because then it's like you have your mannerisms, everything. And then you can just mold it into something. Whereas if you like choose like your race and a bunch of other things, it makes it really hard to kind of, or it might contradict certain things. Because I know some races just have certain things based on like where they what they are as a race, kind of what their innate origins are. Like dwarves and elves, they all have like I would say stereotypical certain attributes, and so it kind of makes it easier to just be like, okay, I want to play this. Now, what is that? How does this make the most sense for whatever? Not saying you can't make, break the norms of things, but I find that it kind of makes it easier to kind of align with certain stuff. Which I guess I kind of already jumped into it. So then the next topic was to be the character creation aspects that usually impact your character's backstory the most, whether it be race, class, backgrounds. And then like I was just saying, I would say class for me is the biggest impact for my characters and their backstories, just because, like I said, for Braff, for instance, I was kind of like, okay, I want him to be a wizard. I didn't know what wizard. That's what's kind of cool too, is I didn't know what wizard I wanted to play. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, okay, as I was typing out his backstory, I was like, how does he get to be a wizard? And then as I was writing it out, I knew what wizard he was gonna be, what class he was gonna be. But then through the backstory, I figured out a subclass, which is pretty cool.
There you go. Yeah. I remember us having that conversation. I always liked that about Braff. For me, for backgrounds, it really depends. I feel like I start making a character, and then I'll figure out somewhere through it, I'll have enough of an idea to write out everything. So, like, for my most recent character,
on 46 napkins.
Yeah, most. Well, for those, I'll type it. When I'm DMing and someone starts using a lot of fucking proper nouns that weren't established, yeah, it's going down on a napkin. You know, I gotta remember
Whatever is
those.
closest to me that I can write it down on.
Yeah,
that works.
yeah. We're lucky I haven't written on my desk and shit.
I was gonna say the desk.
Yeah. But no, like the character I started making for our, whatever the next arc ends up being. As I know, we talked a little bit just about the character concept, and so I made a character I liked, and then I'm like, shit, better make stats and figure out what class this would be, or classes, or anything. So, like, for the most part, I feel like I do a similar thing, where it's like, well, this is his class, and then this is his personality, and I gotta figure out how those kind of either weave together, or, depending on the character, where they clash.
Yeah.
And this time around, is just, I want a guy who does this. I'm like, all right, well, shit, better figure out stats.
How about you, Logan?
3 intelligence for sure.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Oh my god!
Well,
I don't think that's even possible.
Oh, I'm wondering, does a dog have more intelligence than that? Let me look. Go ahead, Logan.
Pretty sure, yeah. I think some trees do.
Here, let me see.
I play gobbies,
Oh yeah, this one.
so
yeah.
like,
This guy.
I can mold a gobby into literally anything, man.
Yeah.
Wherever I am, there's a goblin of that type.
Of course there is.
But no, I think class probably also is like a large decider for my backstory. Class and skills that I take for them. Cause
Right.
for like Star Wars, when I was doing that, I had deception, sleight of hand, and performance as like my 3 highest stats.
Same as a dog, by the way, Jared. Just I know we're both checking.
Wait.
Same as a dog. Go ahead, Logan.
Oh, it's 3? Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at
But
the
no,
player's handbook.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll go through and like based off the skills and class that I end up picking will kind of decide like what major things that I did in my backstory. Like I had sleight of hand and deception, so I did a lot of
Oh yeah.
kind of heist for people and like picking doing pickpocketing off of people or taking odd jobs here and there to do that. And so I think skills followed like class followed by skills would be the things that I decide a large part of my backstory on, like why am I proficient in these certain things.
Okay,
Right.
so you. I didn't even think about that because like,
Or why, as a cleric, am I not proficient in religion?
yeah, because I mean, for he said
Vibes,
wait.
man. I got the general vibe of God, and I'm good.
But I like that though too sometimes because I feel like there are like those stereotypes where it's like like every like in theory cleric should all be or paladin should always have that proficiency, but it's like sometimes people are just confused. They're like, I believe, I follow certain things, but like, okay. It's like I'm trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out.
My favorite thing about Prostrate. What do you mean you're not proficient in religion? I don't know, man. It didn't seem useful.
I had other things going on.
Wasn't aware that was a requirement. Do you want to be healed or not?
But I like that too, because I didn't even think about necessarily looking at the skill choices. Because like for Braff, I was just like wizard. All right, let's go. And then because they give you a couple selections you can do, and I feel like there are like implications. Like wizard, there are like I have a general idea what the skills are, but to actually choose skills and have that be also jumping off points pretty cool too, and kind of let you kind of almost have a framework of the backstory before you even go into it. Because if you have like sleight of hand or you have arcana or whatever, like why? Which this will actually also kind of that's also kind of for feats as well. Feats will also kind of because we start out level 5 for the Redmire Hunt, and so you have the option to do a feat. And so I love the feat skilled, by the way. Skilled, just I love that. I love it so much because a lot of the feats are really good, but if you just like want more proficiencies, or
Right.
you can have them on top of the fact that like. I think what makes it, because you can, doing a lot of cool things. I think a lot of feats are really, I mean, we're going to talk about feats later, but I feel like a lot of feats are like combat oriented in some way. And I really like skilled because it honestly just makes your character more well-rounded, and it makes like everything kind of more fun because then you're just you're better at a lot more things.
Right. Or you play a bard.
Or rogues and bards where they're like, hey, have 74
Yeah.
skills, make 4 of them expertise. There you go.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Pick 4 skills, make them up. You're proficient. know?
yeah. Make them up. But yeah, so I think for the most part, all of us pretty much said, I would say class is where we kind of originate. We kind of do different things. But class
I
is
think some variation, but yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
So with that, and then what order do you typically build your characters? And I guess these all these kind of prompts are kind of almost hand in hand. But like, what order do you typically build your characters? What comes first for like race, class, etc. And I think this mainly from the standpoint of when you're actually building out your character. So it seems like class is all of our firsts. But what would you say? What would you say is next? And this is all from like stats, race, class / spells, background, equipment, and feats. What would you guys say you guys would branch off next from class?
I always do race right after class. I mean, usually I play a goblin.
Okay, bro, we get it, bro.
He brought up race. He can't blame him.
Yeah. But there will be a lot of times too where like I'll be going through a class and I roll shit for stats, and I'm like, all right, as much as I want to play this race, in order for me to not be terrible, I need to actually pick a race that's useful to like as slightly beneficial to me. Or sometimes like playing warlock, I enjoyed playing tiefling with it because it gave you darkness right off the rip, and that just like hand in hand with devil's eyesight, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely gonna take tiefling as my race for that. But I think I would do race. I almost always do race second.
And then like go through like the order almost. Like, so then you race second, and then what would you go?
Last race, feats, background kind of just gets tossed in there as like additional spice, it's just additional spice. And so I'd say probably class, race, feats, equipment, or maybe equipment and then feats, because I decide my feats based off the equipment I have.
Right.
And then background at the bottom.
Well, so something, just real quick, Connor, something I do like that, like I kind of like doing now, and I kind of want to keep implementing, is like I almost like doing the background almost irrelevant. Like I don't choose a background from the player's handbook. You make the backstory, and then if my players are like, hey, can I just background insert word, and then can I have proficiency in these things? I'm like, dude, sure, because I feel like the backgrounds in the player's hand, especially the player's handbook, but I know there's a lot more of a broad list across a lot of the other books. But I like that. It seems to be like a narrow list. I like just, hey, whatever your backstory is. If you're like a criminal in the backstory, cool, but you don't have to like follow the criminal skills. If you were like, if you don't have to just take what the book says. All right, Connor, go jump in.
Oh yeah, no. For one, I like backgrounds being flexible. Again, I do like the system that D&D 5e had. Or Star Wars 5e, D&D 5e is the fucking normal system. Star Wars 5e with D&D. But they have a system in it where, like, it's like similar to Variant Human. Everybody gets a starting feat. What they are is when you pick your background, they give you a bit more stuff, I want to say, in that system in general. Yeah. But also they have a table of 8 feats that because you have that background, you get to start with that feat. And things like that I always quite liked. But, I mean, you can play Variant Human if you wanted to do that, but I don't play Variant Human because I don't like playing human. But for me, I will say, whenever I start classes, my first thing is I wanted to play this class, then I do stats. Because when I'm making a character is probably the only time I'm playing the game where I'm really looking over the stats of everything. So I want to roll my stats, figure out where they are, figure out where I want to put them, and then I will figure out the race. The race will be mainly stat-based or ability-based, and like I will let inspiration hit me if I'm looking through what some of the more optimal options are. I will rarely go suboptimal with it though, because I just want to I'm making a class to do something. Like maybe my whole builds I want to be charisma, and I'm playing a class that's maybe like paladin, which charisma's good, but it's not his main thing. So maybe I'll use my class to shore up some of those shortcomings. Like maybe I'll play a mountain dwarf or something. So just add a little bit more where it's going to be lacking when I put it all together. But I'll do that because of that, I'll normally end up with a race that I wasn't planning on using, and then it becomes more interesting to me. Yeah. If I'm going to roll a bard or something, and I'm just like, well, because of how my stats ended up, I guess, yeah, tiefling makes sense. I didn't really want to do tiefling bard, but okay, well, let's figure that out maybe, and if I don't like it, I pick something else, but it lets you consider what character you want. So I'll let that happen first before race.
Right.
Because it is all about optimization to me. And then afterwards, everything else just falls on the paper. pretty much. You know, like I'll go through, I'll figure out, all right, well, these proficiencies, this makes the most sense. Want to make sure I'm good at this. Maybe I want to be better at that. Ah, shit, I only have 2 options, and I kind of just like let it happen. And then I pick spells that I know it's gonna be fucking wrong. This first combat I get into, they're gonna be immune to ice or some shit. Yeah, I kind of let everything else happen. Equipment's almost something I normally debate with my DM a little bit on something like, yeah, can I either get this or can I have the opportunity to buy this or whatever? And it's normally not important to the class. It's just like, I just really want a rope dart. Am I gonna use it in combat? No, but I want to have it. You know, just some stupid shit. For the most part, like once I have class, race, stats, everything else takes maybe 30 minutes. You know, just me putting it on paper and then letting it influence my backstory more than my backstory influence it. Like normally I'll edit my backstory if I say, shit, he's actually pretty good at religion, and never really, you know, then I'll add that into my backstory.
Right.
Or find out where it fits in. You know.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I would say for me, definitely class first, and then stats. I would say we always roll stats for which as our first jumping off point when it comes to like session 0 and stuff, and then but we all kind of have ideas as to what we're gonna do, like for classes and kind of party composition. But I roll on my stats, but I don't allocate my numbers until I know what class I'm doing. So
right.
So that way I can kind of put things where I need to put them. So that way the stats don't really influence necessarily too much as to what I'm doing. Because usually I would say typically when you roll all your stats out, you usually have a high number and a low number, you know, and then you have it in between. So usually you can just put that high number to whatever your class actually needs. Like for instance, Rafi obviously needed intelligence in some capacity, so I just used the highest stat for that. And then I would say, then I usually jump into my backstory, which I guess in theory would be the background. So, but yeah, I would say race. Kind of just depends on where. So I'm building. I'm like the creator of our homebrew world that we're all kind of DMing in and whatnot. And so it kind of makes it a little bit easier for me to have kind of racial location in the sense of like where things would certainly where certain races would be more privy to residing, and I kind of have that influence a little bit more of my race choice. Like for instance, obviously. Braff is within the Empire, which is primarily the Stormwind Empire, which is primarily consistent of humans, and so that's kind of why I chose that. And it just kind of depends on certain things for that. But and then I would say after those big things, class, race, and stats, background's kind of just in my backstory, and then I just find equipment and feats if available. Which
I'm gonna be honest, I glaze over backgrounds. Backgrounds is like because of D&D, it's disinteresting to me. So I like the way that you do it. It's like, can I just have these couple things? Does that work?
Yeah.
It makes so much more sense to me. It's like,
backgrounds are so...
Yeah.
They're like, fit in this box, please.
Yeah, they're so
it's like, I guess I made this interesting backstory about me like striding through and investigating different tombs as a wizard, but I mean, like based off just stats, I need to be a sage, I guess.
No, yeah.
Okay.
But I find that to also kind of help pick up the slack too, because sometimes, like for instance, I'm pretty sure it was for Braff. I was like, hey, can I have proficiency in athletics? Because he was getting bullied in school and he went to like a fight club and learned how to fucking fight. And so you were just like, yeah, dude, cool. You know, and I like that more because it's like if you want to make a character big, I feel like background, the way D&D has them in the books, it's very like in a box, like you were saying, Logan, in a box, and just like you have to make it fit. But I like almost your backstory being your background. Your background, just summarizing your backstory almost in like 1 word or 2 words, and then me and the player will just kind of talk about like, okay, what skills are you want, and like if it pertains to like starting equipment too, like okay, and then just doing that instead of going in the book, going to the background, the actual portion, and looking through, because I feel like there's just not. It's not that they don't have good options, but they are very strict, and it's like I want you to just be able to just create whatever backstory you want, and then figure it out from there.
Yeah, I can't remember what book added updated backgrounds, but even the updated backgrounds weren't fantastic.
Yeah, if it were to be anything, it'd probably be Tasha's, but I'm not entirely certain.
That would make sense.
But yeah, is there anything else before we kind of just jump into kind of going segment by segment that you guys want to talk about when it comes to our personal character creation?
I don't know. character creation for me is a lot of fun. I end up making NPCs in a similar way to how we're talking about making PCs. You know, if they're going to be like significant enough NPCs, you know.
Yeah.
So like the only thing I mean is like especially when you're in an early world building, or like maybe they're interacting with a new faction you haven't put a lot of stuff into. Like if you're a DM, then like yeah, by all means like take like whatever like leader they have of whatever faction or some interesting person and run through just basic like character creation like that, because you can throw together their background. You know, just it's a good launching point. You know. It's the tools to make a character. It doesn't mean it has to be the tools just to make a player character.
Yeah.
Of course, in combat, things are normally skewed one way or another, and things can be very fucking complicated if you have a full character sheet they're fighting.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a good starting point to get something together.
Yeah, and I really like to do that with important characters too. Like for Axoff through the Frost Trail, I obviously made like a full character sheet for him in some way.
Right.
Now, when I say character sheet, I don't mean like an actual character sheet. I have like a little like preset kind of Google Drive doc, and it follows the same tropes as a character sheet, but I don't like type everything out. It's like sneak attack, and I just like type like 1d6. Like I played the game long enough where I don't have to type everything out.
Right.
Whereas for my personal player characters, I'll actually type everything out so that way the verbiage is I can read it off and I understand.
Yeah, I think it's always good when if you're doing that, lean more towards making like a monster stat block than making a character sheet, if that makes sense to the person. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Because even if it's even if he's helping the party, it's a monster on the board as far as all the stats are concerned.
Right.
Doesn't mean equipment.
It doesn't mess with balancing either, because you're just like, they have a short sword attack. Like, is it actually a short sword? I mean, not really, man. Like, I'm not going to calculate what your proficiency is going to be as an NPC at this. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
You have like this much damage.
And there's times where I'll just cut out certain abilities too. Like, oh, this has a rogue, but he doesn't have this because one, I'm lazy, and two, like, fuck it, I don't know. This is like 50.
Or sometimes you thought combat was going to be a whole lot easier. They fucked up. So I guess this guy does not have a neutron grenade.
Yeah.
We're going to get.
He said, "I'm changing things."
He left it at home.
I think custom monsters too. If I do that, I'll go through the same like character or creation stuff of being like, what is this monster type to start? Okay, now that I have this monster type to start, like how would you build out stat wise, or like what kind of style of monster would it be? I go through similar character creation stuff too.
I was gonna say we could do actually another episode of monster creation if we wanted to as
Definitely
well.
could.
We could
depending on how things go next session, we could definitely do that.
Yeah, we could do that too, because I feel like it's like a similar process, but also different when it comes to. Well, I feel like
different, but still same.
We kind of
similar but different.
Yeah, we kind of I think talked about that with the Anyway, let's continue. So now jumping into just kind of breaking everything down, like kind of block by block when it comes to creating characters, we can just kind of deep dive. So we kind of explained how we kind of build the characters in what order, but then let's just go through each of them if we have time to go through all of them, or we can break this up. So for stats, generally into max 20 we usually do this similar. We do the same kind of rolling for each of our games. We'll do roll 4d6, drop the lowest. I think you, Connor, because you're a sick bastard, I think you said your lowest stat could be 6. I like to cap it at 8. No.
I think what it changes, you say reroll ones, and I said you don't have to reroll. Like don't rerolling ones, because normally what would happen is you like roll 3d6, then you get a 1, you reroll it, and then like it might end up a little bit better.
So I did do that.
That helps.
I did do that, but I got rid of that. So I got rid of that because I used to do 4d6. You drop the lowest and then reroll ones, which was like basically stacking your party layers to be 14 plus for everything. So I got rid of that. But then now what I do is you keep ones, but you can't get lower than an 8, and you can't get obviously greater than 18, just the way the math works.
I will say, in my defense,
you said no lower than 6, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, that's because of the type of campaign we were doing. If we were doing a long form campaign, that'd be like, there's games like that, but that'd be a little rough.
Listen, I know why you did it, but you're a sicko for doing it.
Dude, I'm just rolling stats as practice right now, and I got a goated not real character right now. The lowest one I got was 12.
I roll it. You roll 8 times instead of 6 times. You take your lowest stat, your highest stat, and you get rid of your 2 like most average stats.
So the ones that end up the most
Like, or I
Middle of
guess
the road?
the two lower. So you would you lowest, highest you take, and then you'll take the rest of the 4 that you need, and then you just dump 2 more stats out of that. So if you were to roll like 3 sixes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
only take one of the 6s, you dump the other 2. That way you're like, your players at least have a few options for what they want to take, because you can be like, ah, well, like, I rolled shit on 3 of my rolls in a row, and then they're not like totally screwed over with half of their sheet being bad rolls. They give with 8, you at least have a chance to maybe hit something decent.
Okay, so within the 8, what are the 2 that are normally dropped? Because that's my confusion.
Usually, so if you rolled like, they would just be your 2 other lower ones, other than like, so if you got a 6, a 7, and an 8, you would drop the 7 and the 8.
But you take the lowest. Okay.
So you keep the absolute lowest, you keep
Lowest.
the absolute highest,
But
and then you pick within the rest of them which you're okay. That makes sense.
But you're rolling 8 times instead of 6, and so I see. Okay.
Is it 3d6?
It's 46 still.
Oh, okay.
But it's more variance in it, because there's been times where I've rolled up a character, and like the last character I rolled up for my home game, I rolled I didn't roll higher than a 12.
Nice. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And so our DM was like, I will just let you re-roll all of your stats. You are taking an 8 in one of your stats no matter what. And I was like,
Yeah, sounds good.
I was like, yes, yeah, dude, sounds good.
Sounds fucking good, bro. 12.
much
This
better.
man said, I'm Mr. Average. I'm here to help.
Yeah, dude. And so, but I like to do it with 8, because then it gives at least like a little variance of, if you are rolling totally garbage, like there is at least 2 more chances for you not to roll dog shit. If the dice decide that your character is gonna suck, man, the dice decide that your character is gonna
Yeah.
suck. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. But
Yeah, and there is fun in understanding that's your character and playing that character, but you have to really lead into the facts like, all right, we're getting into combat and I'm gonna be dog shit. All right.
This man said existence? Yeah, I suck at that.
No, I hope you really wanted to cast spells on creatures that auto hit. You know, you better love magic missile and healing.
Well, I think for me, I will always be more of a fan of. I love dump stats. I love dump stats, but they need to complement. Like a high stat. Like I do not mind having like maybe 2 dump stats if I have something that my character is extremely good in. Because I just find that to be, because then there's polarized extremes, which gives you a lot of wiggle room to have fun with. You know, it's like my dude's super strong, but you know, it's like he can't make a choice for shit, or like he can't talk for shit, or he's clumsy, and so it's a lot of I love the polarized extremes because those are just fun to play.
I've definitely done. My favorite was when I had like 6 charisma, and I was like, my dude is like burnt to a crisp, man. Walking s'more after you leave it over the fire, dude, the entire time.
Well, actually, it's funny that you bring up charisma, because I actually really enjoy playing Braff. Because a lot of people think low charisma is like usually like brash, like kind of a dick. But I'm really enjoying Braff because it's like, it's not like he's an asshole. Like he can be an asshole sometimes. That's also part of his like part of like kind of some of his backstory stuff. But I really enjoy playing it from the standpoint of like he's shy and he doesn't know how to interact necessarily. So it's like you're not an asshole, you just suck at talking and you're like stumbling over yourself, and so it's hard to communicking. And so that's
like
why
me at a party.
Hey, okay, Noxy boy.
I'm still listening, man.
No, you're good. No, I saw it pop up and I was like, let's go. But I really enjoyed that. I think there's that. What other thing? There's one other thing I think about stats. You have anything, Connor? Go ahead. Just thinking.
No, all I was gonna say is, you know, when you have low stats and such, you know, like when you realize that's it, there's always fun ways to lean into it.
Yeah.
Like for instance, a low strength character doesn't have to be insanely weak. Maybe he's not that strong, but maybe he's just like really like, maybe you have a noble character, so he's just isn't about it.
Yeah.
Like he just isn't gonna lean into it. Like if he needs to put his shoulder into it, he's gonna try, but he doesn't really know how.
Gotcha.
You know, it's just just like, you know,
That's
there's different ways. There's obvious ways which are not bad, but like, you know, if your character has low wisdom, maybe he just has ADHD. I mean, like he's just like, he's like he can see stuff. You know, he's paying attention, but like there's something over there.
Yeah.
He saw the ambush, he forgot about it because there's a rock, roughly that way. You know, like.
Well, it's the squirrel brain when you literally see a squirrel. You're like, what?
Oh,
Huh?
shit. Look.
Damn it! I did it. I did the thing.
Well, that's another reason why I also like rolling stats and then doing backstory, because I feel like having a shit stat, when you put it to like a meaningful thing in your backstory, it makes it 100% more like you can lean into it and you can enjoy it a little bit more because there's a reason for it. If you're just like, yo, my character's got a -5 in something, and it's just like, why? No idea. Just rolled like shit. It's like, no, but if it's like you can really bring it to life with like he sucks at something because of a backstory thing, then it's like you own it and it's like your own thing.
No, for sure.
Got a -3 in intelligence. Yeah, man, took an ogre club the wrong way when he was a young lad.
Yeah.
It was never the same.
He played high school football too much and got too many concussions, bro. He played Blood Bowl too many times to make a living.
Right.
Hell yeah. All right, anything else for stats, boys, or you guys want to move on?
No, that sounds good to me.
All right, let's go to races, boy. We'll just go down the list.
You said what?
Races? Racist? Wait, hold on. I said,
Hold on.
I said ES, not IST. We'll just jump right into it. I think we should just go down the list. I mean,
Everyone pick your least favorite.
all right, here we go.
Oh.
Wait, what did you say? What did he say? So dwarves are fun.
I thought you were picking your least favorite.
Oh, I'm just going
Yeah.
through the player's handbook because that's what I have with complementing the stream. I have it pulled up as well. So,
gotcha.
No, but I think honestly we don't have to go through all of them necessarily. We could maybe do a breakdown.
That's great. Yeah, there's a lot, man.
There is a lot.
Because I normally use like Volos or obviously because I use like the Shout Out Kai. I think they used them in like multiple publications.
Yeah.
So normally I'll go online and find something.
Sounds good. So we can do favorite and then least favorite, or what couple of whatever you want to do.
Yeah. All I was gonna say is I love playing elves myself.
Okay. Elves.
It's
Rough take, but I love playing elves.
This guy's a nerd.
It's a Baldur's Gate thing, man. I have to hit the elves because of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, you maniac. But no, I just normally like playing elves. I think it's mostly stats, if I'm being honest, because most of them have things that lean into different classes I like playing, and I think that's a large influence on it. I normally play either a high dexterity or a spellcaster. So I'm either playing like ranger rogue, or I'm playing a spellcaster. No matter if you're doing charisma, intelligence, there's going to be something for you with different types of elves because there's so many in all the different books. You have like Fae, like from the Fae, from different seasons, and Shadow, Fell, and then normal elves, and then sea elves, and then there's a lot of things there. So I always liked playing them. I also like going hard the other direction, like Firebolgs and like Goliaths. Like I like playing big characters. That's not like size large, but it's characters that their race themselves, like they are just larger. That's always a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
Also, elves have like Elven Trance is one of the best things. Like I'm
I
jokingly
love it.
shit on elves, but Elven Trance is so good. Especially as a spellcaster, to be like, like I only need a couple hours to rest, and so I can be on watch for the party, so we're not getting shit on tonight.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to play, and then when you have a DM and then to figure out like how to make it make sense, it's kind of tough because you're like, 4 hours, and now what am I doing for the rest of my night? It's like, oh shit.
It's part of the long rest, I guess. I'm just gonna use the other 4 hours to whittle.
Well, I mean, you need a lot more downtime or downtime activities if you want to like make make your character do some other stuff or invest in other things. It's pretty cool. No, so we've actually mentioned like racial stats and like why we choose race or races and mainly for stats or to complement stats and whatnot, which I think they actually had a new book come out where they actually got rid of a lot of these stats associated with race, and they're like, hey, just choose things. I kind of
it's 2 and 1 now, so you get 2 and 1 stat, 1 in the other. It doesn't matter what race you play, your race just gives you the other racial bonuses.
Okay, yeah. So I like that in a couple different ways. I like that, but also like I agree, disagree, kind of. I like that in the sense of like, if someone wants to play an elf because they really like elves, they like the culture behind them, they like certain aspects or like certain perks you get with the race. Cool. I also think that it also can make sense why a group of people have generically better stats in certain things as well. So it can kind of go either way for me. Like if a player is like, hey, and like they're building out their character, like, oh, I'm gonna be an elf because more dex. I'm like, cool. Or if they're like, hey, I want to be an elf, but can I like maybe have one dex and one something else? I'm like, cool too. But that also kind of leans into the sub races too, because they'll also add certain things. But I like to be kind of, I kind of like to be open with it. Like, I'm not gonna hard set all the points you get from a racial bonus. Just, if someone like articulates to me or has a backstory or something else. Because yeah, a lot of these, a lot of stats can be, comprised of like how a character grew up, and that can be different. And so I appreciate that, but also like I also understand there are stereotypes and there are like typical certain things that that you can fall in and just fall under, and that you can just use, right? So if someone's making a character and they just want to, just like you were saying, Connor, use an elf for more dex makes sense. Generally elves are more dexterous when it comes to the world and just canon and stuff. So I think there's no harm in either or.
Yeah, I think it's like that's almost like a session 0 thing. Like during character creation, maybe like the DM and the characters players at this point talk, and it's just like, is that an option that's on the table? Because I can imagine somebody wanting to be like, yeah, I really want to play like a spellcaster like dwarf, but it does like stat wise I am going very much against the grain, but I'd like to okay, well, if that's something you talked about or something, or you want to go to the DM and ask, just to get that extra points, because there's a reason that ability score improvements are made right next to feats. They are substantial upgrades to your character.
Exactly. Getting
that one extra. So if that's something that you can just get because you had a conversation with your DM, and the race you wanted to play essentially gives you that. The points go where you need them to, instead of somewhere where they're not wasted, but definitely not as useful. That's always good. But also, I think that's a conversation that the table has pretty much. Like, do we want to do that? Because some people do like leaning into the different tropes and let that be reflected on the stats.
Exactly. Hell yeah, I like that. Good compliment.
Race you never play, Connor?
Oh wait, hold on! I didn't even get to say my race. What the?
Hit on your race real quick, Jared.
Do we want to do favorite and least favorite per person, or do we want to do all of our favorite races to go for it?
Huh?
What?
You said
we're both confused.
You said what race we would play the most, or like our favorite.
Favorite, and then we'll go through, and then we'll do least favorite.
Okay. All right. My bad. I thought we were doing each person's favorite.
I was just talking about generally. My favorite race to play is definitely Aasimar. Love playing Aasimar. Aasimars are fucking great. They are the pick-me kid at the table. My God. They are, they're like, I get fucking wings at level 3. I could do more radiant damage if I want. They just are ridiculous, but I do like them. From their stats, again, I like the stats backing them up. You have 3 different options. All 3 of them are interesting, and especially if you're playing like a paladin type character, you have something that like on your stat sheet reflects like a fall from grace if you go Oathbreaker, because your sub race changes.
Yeah.
Or you can just not fucking do that and be a decent human being. But we're talking about D&D.
Yeah.
So, but that's my favorite. And are we talking about least favorites?
Well, I still have not even listed off one of mine, so I don't even know.
Yeah, okay, so we're going around the horn. Okay. Yeah, okay.
I will go last because mine is obvious.
I think favorite. Oh man, hey, bro, hold on. I don't have a favorite. No, I'm just kidding. I think I have a least favorite. I don't really have a favorite. I think that all of them are really cool. I already know what Connor's least favorite is. I'll let him say it later. But I think that all of them.
Know.
I do know. I do fucking know, and I put money on it.
When we get there, I'll have you say it first. I'll have you say it.
Okay.
Say if you get it. I'll write them down.
Okay. I like all of them. I think they can all be really cool. I think that wait, yeah, I think I
just realized you're right. I just don't even consider it a race.
He's not even considering it. I think Goliath is a lot of fun. I think Goliath's really cool just because I do like that hulking presence. I really like that they made because Goliaths have been obviously in D&D for a long time, but then they with Volos they made it so you can play them. I think they're really cool. I think that they're kind of like an even more emphasized, almost like orc, because orcs obviously are kind of more of those the brutish. They're a little bit more heavy hitters, and then you have the Goliath, which is just like even more into that realm. I really like Kenku. I just hate that Kenkus have the stupid mimicry shit. And honestly, I think since I am making a homebrew world, I'm probably gonna get rid of that. I think Kenkus are really cool. I'm just gonna get rid of the whole mimicry shit. They have their own voices. Because I played a Kenku, but then I was trying to like lean into the whole like they don't have their own voice. They speak only mimicry. It's also fucking hard. and it's just a lot. And so I think Kenkus are really cool and unique. But I would say
I was just smacking pans together when I was playing a Kenku. I didn't know how to say a word. I was like,
he said I was
just imagine you at the table, just like, well, okay. And then he turns to you and asks you, what would you like to order? Then you just raise up 2 pans from under the table, and everyone's like, no!
that's what I'm saying, dude.
Is death in the house?
It is very hard though to play a Kenku and to be like, okay, what words do I know?
Yeah. No, honestly, like I think the only we're not on least favorite, but I think they're all pretty dope. I would say like the ones that I lean into the most, I would say would probably just be human, because contrary to popular belief, you can play a fantasy D&D game and be human and be unique. For all those people out there who don't think so or want to, I'm doing it right now in the Red Mire Hunt. So don't let Connor talk shit and discourage you.
Look, you can do whatever you want. You can also be wrong,
okay,
however you like. No, humans are fine.
Yeah, I think that I really enjoy
I just
them.
don't prefer to play them.
Yeah, and I also understand
I play an elf, which is just human with ears.
Yeah. I do like the that humans are kind of more like can be a catch-all sometimes, you know, and they do have like there's such a wide range that you can play. All right, cool. I bitched about not saying my favorite just to say I like them all, so there you go. Okay. Connor's least favorite.
Wait, whoa!
Oh,
I don't even know. Hey!
Oh my
you
God.
say you
okay.
say
Okay,
bro.
bro, I'm excited. I'm excited to guess Connor's least favorite. Okay, good.
Goblins, bro.
Oh yeah, wait, I knew that.
Goblins,
Oh
dude.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, well, just because everyone's like, why are you gonna play a goblin? I'm like, look, man, we're about to go shiv some of my kinfolk, and it's a bunch of fun for me to have interactions with them before you shiv my kinfolk. Also, goblins have like the widest array, close to elves, with sub-races between a bunch of the different books. They have like Fey goblins, they have merfolk goblins, they have city goblins.
Do they really? I did not know that.
Yeah, goblins go crazy.
Goblins will adapt to whatever environment they're in.
What books are those?
If you trip in the astral plane, you're gonna hit a goblin, like just swimming. Like they're out there.
I think Mordecai's Monsters of the Multiverse has a bunch of different goblin sub-races.
Really?
That sounds right, yeah.
Well, I've only ever just knew them in Volos for the stat blocks. That's just really cool that they have a shit ton of them.
Yeah, so like they also have my favorite racial trait in the entire game, Fury of the Small, dude. Yes. I love that they're just angry that they're tiny. I don't know why I love that as a trait, but that's one of my favorite traits known to mankind.
It's a relatable trait.
It's just they have Napoleon complex built in, dude.
I love it too. It's probably one of the coolest racial. Just like not for strength, but just like fuck. I use Fury of the Small. It's like,
yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
And then Nimble Escape is another really good racial trait that I like off of goblins, because it gives you like baby rogue stuff. You can hide or disengage as a bonus action, which is really nice. And so I really like that too. And then I'd say other than goblins, I really like playing tieflings. I like the fire resistance is always nice.
Yeah.
Infernal Legacy for Hellish Rebuke, and then Darkness also has free spells that you get once per day each is really nice. And
races that give you that many spells just as like racial abilities are always super good.
Yeah,
because ribbon abilities are great, but like something that's like shows up in combat is always fantastic.
Absolutely. And then I tend to play a lot of charisma based classes as my preferred classes to play, and so it is just nice to have that extra bump to charisma.
True.
So, and then usually you go down to hell at some point in a campaign, or you deal with a demon at one point, and it is really nice to just baseline have Infernal as a language that you know.
It is definitely very nice. There's just a lot of things like that where they should never come up in a campaign, but I'm never going to pass up the opportunity to get like Celestial or Abyssal. Yeah.
Tieflings are pretty cool.
And then in a couple of the other source books too, they do have a couple sub-races for Tieflings now too, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, aren't they like based off the different circles of Avernus?
Mm-hmm.
Or Avernus is specific one, different circles of hell?
Yeah, they have, I think,
Playing too much Baldur's Gate.
Normal tiefling, and then 2 other ones, and then normal tiefling got a subrace that I don't remember what it's called, but
Gotcha.
I was not talking about Baldur's Gate, man, but they didn't let you play a Gobby in Baldur's Gate. Garbage.
He said
Take
4
a
stars.
star.
Take
I
a star
saw
off.
somebody
Take a star
on
off.
Reddit playing a merfolk called Christina Alguilera, a bard. So I'm thinking you could probably play a fucking goblin.
Oh yeah, if you bought it
with mods, yeah, I was
100%.
say with
Yeah.
mods for sure.
And when I say merfolk, I mean like the fucking what were they? The fish people. I can't remember what they're called. But the literally just like a fish dude, just a big old.
Merfolk.
Well, it wasn't like literally a fish.
Bolug.
Yes, it was one of those. Just someone's walking around with a koi with 2 legs. Just risen people up as a bard.
Just risen.
Yeah.
Hey yo, you want some fin?
Yo, we just wait till we get
Hey,
to my least favorite right.
Alright,
Connor.
Connor's favorite race? Halfling.
Connor's least favorite? No, Connor's least
That's my
favorite.
guess.
No, Connor's least favorite is fucking Tabaxi.
Fucking hate tabaxis, dude. And honestly, I hate them now as a meme more so because I got more okay with how broken they are.
What about
The only thing that's broken is speed and the unarmed attack. Somebody makes a monk tabaxi, the game's broken. That's just how it is. But there's a bunch. But even like I've had players play Aarakocra since then. I've had people play different races that have like innate Misty Step, like me when I played one. The Shatter Kai.
Oh yeah.
So not as bad tabaxi. I will say though, as far as like an actual baseline race that I hate, it isn't halflings, it's gnomes. I fucking hate gnomes. They annoy me to hell. They're like.
Is that why
I
you?
feel bad.
Is that why
Because
you
there's
killed?
2 of them.
Bull, is that why you killed Bullvest, you piece of shit? Like truth comes out,
Bro, I
man.
shoot gnomes at any chance that I see a gnome and I'm like, man, you
Yeah.
gotta die.
What the
Look, I don't like having rodents in the party, so I just get rid of gnomes.
Holy shit!
But which I mean, I just like they're just like for me when I build a world, halflings and gnomes take up similar territory in my mind, and I prefer halflings. Gnomes are interesting and cool, I guess, and there'll be some probably fucking somewhere, but I don't like as far as like characters in the world, they're fine. But playing a gnome, deep gnomes are awesome. I actually have 2. I almost had 2 gnomes in my party right now. It was dangerously close, but yeah, gnomes are fun. They're just like I just don't like them. I also don't like Lucky's preferred. Someone's gonna say I have the racial Lucky feat because I normally ban Lucky, but if their race gives them Lucky once a day, I prefer that than to you being a gnome.
I think halfling luck is all the time, if I'm not
What?
wrong.
Halfling luck. I think it's. I thought it was once a day. I might be.
No, it's just if you roll a 1, you re-roll it.
You get to re-roll it. If you roll a 1
take it.
again.
Plus, I feel I would like to preface this. I feel like a lot of the hate towards certain racial choices is because of their abilities and their traits and how they affect the game.
Nope.
Okay, all right.
Not in this game. I can't tell you what gnomes have mechanically. I don't like them.
All right.
I don't
every
like 'em.
D&D campaign I'm in, I just have a bad taste whenever a gnome shows up, dude. And I'm like, I'm gonna shiv you before you can fuck me over, man.
There's also there's a game, I can't remember the name of it. It's like Arcadum, I want to say. And like spoilers for a game that came out 20 years ago. Like the main like totalitarian Nazis of the world who have like genetic programs subserving every other race are just gnomes. They just are. And it's just like, wow. I like that interpretation of gnomes because that's how I feel.
At least there's a reason why you hate them, I guess, instead of.
I never played the game. I just heard about it.
Oh my god!
I just don't like gnomes.
All right,
I looked for evidence that nailed down my particular distaste. Is what happened.
He said, "Yeah, I align with that." Anyway.
Yeah. I googled why gnomes bad.
About Leonids, since you said you don't like to.
What the hell is that?
It's a lion.
It's the lion ones.
It's the lion ones. They are usually 6 to 7 feet tall. They have a base walking speed of 35 feet. They have dark vision. They also gain unarmed strikes for claws. And then they have daunting roar. As a bonus action, you can let out a menacing roar. Creatures of your choice within 10 feet who can hear must successfully see the wisdom saving throw or be frightened until the end of their next turn. DC is 8 plus your proficiency plus your constitution, and you get that on short rest.
That's honest. That one fits in my mind better than Tabaxi. But it's mainly aesthetic. Huh?
Tabaxi gets a +1 to charisma for why?
Because they might as well.
They get 3.
Oh,
they have 2
walking
dex,
speed
1
is-
charisma. Shit.
30 feet versus 35 off of. Also, though, feline agility is stupid. That's just a dumb trait. That's dumb.
Yeah,
That it
Tabaxi's.
doesn't refresh on rest, just if you stop moving quick.
Yeah, I want to say, just the comparison Tabaxis to Lionids is what they were.
Lionids, Leonids,
Yeah, whatever.
Lionmans.
For me, that's an aesthetic choice, because in the world where I would allow that, I would also allow, that'd be a just more fantastical world, and I think that's normally where the line is. If players can play whoever they really want, but, when that happens, I think mentally I'd make a note, and this is me just talking as, a DM and a player's picking it. But that makes more sense in a world to me, because it's, that's, aesthetically that makes more sense. It also helps that Invincible, the show had a very badass character, I think it was just called Beastmaster, who was just essentially aligned with a mace and beat the fucking shit out of everybody.
Oh shit!
And he was a cool character.
Hell
but
yeah!
Having an agile cat humanoid just rubs me the wrong way. It just looks weird. I don't like it. Get it away from me. Why is it cleaning itself? We're in public. Just get it. I don't like it. Other people probably like it, and that's fine. But
what are they in Skyrim? Do you just kill them?
Khajiit, they are fine in Skyrim, I guess, but they also are impoverished, and that helps.
What the fuck? All right, Logan. Let's get Connor off the fucking soapbox, bro.
I hate Eric Akra and I hate Owlin. Both the flying fucking stupid birds.
Oh my
Asimar
Hollow
are
bones.
fine.
Okay.
Because they have flying occasionally.
I thought this was gonna be hey, I don't really like these characters. I didn't know y'all had some deep fucking hate for some of these.
You knew who you were talking to.
No.
Okay.
We're running
hate
manifestos.
that at level 1 with both
Holy
Owlin
shit.
and Aarakocra, you get flying speed. Do you know how hard it is to scale a level 30 encounter when half of your fucking party can fly?
Yeah.
There's a lot of combat and a lot of fucking rooms, I'll tell you what. Low ceilings.
Bro, dude, low ceilings, and I'm just giving magic missile to everyone. What? You can't cast a spell? Here's a magic missile scroll. Why would you have it? I don't know.
No, I agree, because I feel flies, I think, a 3rd level spell, so the fact that they just have fly built, it's holy shit. Because
they just have it built in.
Asimar, whatever you want to call them, they are, at least, it's a 1 to the rest or some shit, or there's stipulations.
It's for a minute, I think it's long rest, honestly, for them.
Yeah, and then also, Draconic, Sorcerer, which gets it at 14, 10 or 14, which is ridiculous that it's 10 or 14 because you have birds.
Yeah.
I hate birds.
I also had the spell fly on you for how long now? It's now I fly, but with wings.
But with the wings, so I don't need concentration. But yeah, I seriously, anytime someone's I'm going to play an Aarakocra and Owlin, it just makes
fuck
it
no. Just tell them no.
Hard.
Just tell them no. I think it'd be easier for you to tell them no than actually hate the person.
Oh no! For me, what I'm saying about Tabaxi is just for one, a lot of fun. But for two, I just tell the parties hey, I don't like Tabaxi. I normally have a couple things that don't make sense in my world, or I just tell you I would like you not to play. And no one has pushed me on it. If someone wanted to, we can make an exception. But for the most part, I'm
I give them a gliding speed instead, and then once per day you can fly totally normally. But I'm you can glide from places because I won't stop you from doing that. But if you have equipment on, there's no way you're flying. So I treat them more like Rito from Zelda, where they have to their wings are a part of their hands, and so if they're holding equipment, you're not going to be able to fly and wield a greatsword at the same time.
Unless you just bring it down from up top, you just stop flying 30 feet up and just drop down.
I feel if you're doing that, though, in my mind, if someone was hey, if you're hey, I want to play this eagle guy, and you're yeah, you can't fly, though, I just, not even give a shit at that point. I would rather be told no than, hey, I'm just gonna, cut your wings off, basically. Because then, in my mind, then it just makes no sense. So I might as well not even play the character than to just not have my wings work.
Yeah, I think that's normally how I'd go with it too. It's just like you can do it, but you can't do that thing. It's like, well, okay then. Well, I'd appreciate getting the kind of option, but then I'd also be like, okay, well then I'm just gonna play a more broken character that walks.
All right, let's keep this moving so we can get to some other stuff too. Real quick,
you have to spread your hate.
No, yeah. I'm just gonna say real quick. I don't like the and this is like the only race that I really don't like prefer is the Triton, whatever the fuck, the like walking mermaid.
Triton, yeah.
Yeah, those fucks. I only really don't like them because they don't make a lot of sense, and I feel like that's about the only reason why I'm like not a fan, just because I know
you need to spew hate. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the classes. I want to talk about classes, but I don't. Corey, I want to say played one of these characters, and if you're in the chat, Corey,
one of my campaigns.
Yeah, Corey, you played one of these fucks, and I hated you every single day.
He played one of those that was a sea sorcerer. Yeah.
Yeah. See, Corey's Triton is dope. I played one using exactly 0 race first. Yeah, fuck you. I'd hated your character every day that you're playing that. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, it's mainly just for like a it's like whenever like a sea creature is able to live on land, but also came from the sea. For me, just like is so polarized for like aspects of the character. For me, it just doesn't make sense. I don't really prefer. I don't like it. So that's why I like this. This is the only one that I really am like. Yeah, no, fuck you.
Would you let players play that race, though?
I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
Okay.
I think for me, I think there'd be interesting NPCs if maybe you're out. Oh, dude, the tavern's popping off. Oh, it just stopped. Okay. I think it'd be cool for like NPCs to be this. Maybe if like they're in the water, or if they're like on a coastal town, or maybe it's like a quest or something. I think it'd be really cool. I think for a player where it's like a land dominated campaign, I'd just be like, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So no. But that's like the only one that I would really say no to, only because of just like that circumstance. Everything else, I feel like obviously halflings piss me off because you inherently have luck built into the character. But also I really like gnomes. I think gnomes are sick, and so fuck you, Connor.
I think you're wrong, bro. I think you're wrong.
Yeah, all right. Well, I guess
question before we go to class.
I'm the outlier. Oh,
you don't like Minotaurs?
No, I love Minotaurs. I totally forgot about Minotaurs. Minotaurs are a dope race that got added.
I like Minotaurs. Well, I was gonna say actually when you brought up Lionids, I feel like if someone was a Lionid, I'd also make sure the door was open, let other people know that if we were going that route, more bestial type characters would be prominent. You know, I try to lean into different things that players do depending on the campaign. So if there's a bunch of fucking Minotaurs and Lion dudes rolling up on a tavern, it's still gonna be weird, but you know, it's like, all right, well now this is an open door. Still no tabaxis.
Anyway,
the gnomes are the doormats.
But yeah, there I guess is our hot takes on
I think they're pretty restrained.
On that. Let's go ahead and move on to class, boy. Let me actually move.
All right.
So yeah, class.
I'm gonna use the restroom really quick. So,
cool.
But please.
Yeah, you're good. So for classes, I think all the classes are dope. I think some of them need some reworks, which I've actually done for our home games. But I think all of them are very unique, and there are a lot of revisions coming to a lot of them in the next D&D edition coming out for the Player's Handbook. I know there's a big overhaul for a lot of these base classes, which is actually going to be pretty cool. I've watched and read some of the stuff they're changing, but I would say for me, I mean, it's kind of similar. Like, I think that all of these classes, I'm trying to think. I'm always about to delete something. I think all of them are dope, and I think that they're all cool. I would say the one that I don't like to play personally would be Monk.
I've never played a monk.
Yeah, I never had a desire to play the monk, and I think for me, some of these like these choices and what's the word? Some of the reasons why I don't choose some of these things is because a lot of the realism. I think Monk has a lot of whack shit where it's just like makes no sense. Obviously it's a fantasy game. I like to have, obviously there's magic, there's a bunch of that stuff, and so obviously it's not like you can't make it 100% realistic. But I feel like there's still like confines of certain things within classes and abilities for your characters to do and for players to do. And I think that Monk just kind of just goes off the deep end. And you can, like for instance, like slow fall, you can just like jump off something and you're like, and you touch the ground and it negates damage. Like stuff like that is, I think, why I don't really prefer Monk. I would say so. My favorite I'd say my favorite martial class. Barbarian's fucking fun. I love Barbarian. And then I'd say Wizard's a lot of fun. I really like Sorcerer, but I think I like the. Oh man. Actually,
Wizard gives you more utility than Sorcerer does, I think.
I think I do like Sorcerer more than Wizard, only because I like Sorcerer and I like the meta magic. Meta magic is such a cool flavor to spells and be able to do things, and like you almost have like, because obviously you casting a spell, it's you get the options to choose different spells, but I like how the meta magic allows you to like warp spells and change how they function, and it kind of makes it a little more personalized. So, all right, Logan. You can just do all of them. Your favorite and your least favorite.
Not favorite or least favorite. Controversial opinion. Maybe, I'm not really sure. I think Rogue is just straight up the best class in D&D. I think hands down, like it's by itself is good. Yeah. Multiclassing with literally anything, it's good. Like there's no downside to ever being a Rogue. But my favorite.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I was just gonna say it's like a very famous almost dip. I want a multi-class. I don't know what to pick. It's like, well, you cannot go wrong dipping in a Rogue. Like, you just get so much utility from the Rogue. It's insane. Like, it makes any other class better.
It just
like
there's no.
I'm like maybe some spellcasters, not necessarily, but pretty much anybody else.
You can sneak attack as a bear.
Well, I
don't.
Well, I think.
Let me go to my notes.
I think Rogue is like you were saying. I think it's just like a really good grounding point for first of all any starting character. I think that like if you literally just like, hey, it's a martial class, but you get to do a lot of cool shit. You get a lot of skills. You get a lot of proficiencies. So yeah, I think on it. I mean, obviously you don't have the arsenal of spells, but like if you're like a new player, then you don't need to worry. You don't need all the problems that come with spells. You just choose Rogue. Trickster. Well, yeah, even that dumbs it down too. So it's like, it's honestly a perfect starting class to just jump in.
Outside of combat, like for role playing stuff, and just in general for like being useful outside of combat, you're super useful both outside of combat and in combat. Because you're like, I have all of these skills that I'm proficient in. I'm also expertise in 2 of these skills. And then starting at level 10 or level 14, I don't remember which one it is, skills you're expertise in, you literally can't roll lower than a 10. Even if you hit it at 1, it becomes a reliable talent. 9. But so yeah, I just think Rogue is like good. My favorite class is Warlock due to evocations being a thing. No matter what Warlock you're playing, you're never playing the same Warlock as someone else, even if you're playing the same subclass, just because it's like 34 evocations or something like that to pick from now. And different patrons, because even with your subclass, that doesn't go with what your pact is. So you could be like, I'm a pact of the Fiend, Deep Warlock, or something like that. And then these are my evocations. And so I really like Warlock for that, as well as it has a lot of fun multi-classes you can do out of it, and I find Warlock to be super versatile.
Welcome in, Grant. What's up, baby?
What's up, man? But I played probably the most Warlock out of anything. I'd say second would be Wizard, because I love the versatility of the Wizard spell list and just having that many spells to my disposal, because no matter where I am, I have an answer for something. I may not be as strong as like a sorcerer in combat, but as soon as we're out of it, I have Knock, I have Silence, I have Dimension Door, I have Plane Shift. Like, you just have access to so much as a wizard. And then my least favorite class, honestly, probably Bard.
Least favorite?
I don't love bards. I've only ever played, when I played bards, I played College of Blade Bard, and I just don't love the bard spell lists. I mean, it's never been my style of like character to play as a bard, and so I always find that I have a hard time playing bards. I don't think bards are bad in any way. I think they're a really good class. I struggle playing bards, and I just struggle being like, I really like. This really feels like my ideal fantasy of being like, I'm gonna do this as a character.
I will say I like bards, but I agree, for sure. It's a very different play style than when I played one. It was very low level when we were playing, but it wasn't like it it was not clicking for me.
I think bards are like they lean a lot more. It's weird. I would say bards are almost like the cleric, but like pure support. Like cleric's like a mix where it's like cleric's healer, but like, and you can rope that into support. But bard is like support. Like bardic inspiration gives you better on rolls, and a lot of their spells are like support focused. Whereas a cleric is like you heal, but you also can just start beating the shit out of people. You spiritual weapon, you have a lot of different things. Bard is just kind of like soul support. Like you can't really get DPS out of them. A lot of their spells, a lot of their stuff is more like focused on like distraction and bolstering your allies than the damage or anything like that.
Yeah, I think outside of combat too, it feels pretty tough to use a lot of their spells in non-combat, or not non-combat, but interaction encounters. You know,
Right.
if you're like looking at like these are magical runes, that's cool. Like I am a spellcaster, but this means nothing to me. You know, I don't have anything to help me understand different languages or anything like that.
Right, and like casting friends on people is a good way to make them less friendly depending on what's going on, because a lot of spells do have the condition, depending, I don't know friends specifically, but yeah, they know you cast a spell sometimes.
Yeah,
and that's not great.
Quick sidebar, I feel like a lot of those spells could be really cool if they didn't like just blatantly sell you out. Like if it's a 50-50, like this could actually work for you or not, then like it kind of sucks. I think I understand in some ways why they do that, because if it succeeds, it can be really, really beneficial. But then if it fails, it can be very, very detrimental. Which I guess, but the 50-50 kind of just sucks because it makes it so you have to very specifically use it, and you really to run the risk of it failing. Whereas I kind of wish Bard you could just be like, yeah, everyone's my friend, and you either send it or you don't.
Star Wars 5e updates friends to where they don't know that you cast it on them, whether or not they succeed or fail the save. Because D&D friends, even if they fail the save, once friends ends, they know you cast it on them.
Yeah, which is
so no matter what,
exactly.
it sells you out.
That's dumb.
But
I think that's dumb.
Star Wars 5e updated it so it just it gives you advantage on one roll instead of for the hour that it does, but they have no idea that you cast it, and it's still a cantrip. And so it's more useful, but it's more of a guidance than it is anything else.
Right.
I think I like that more.
Yeah, makes more sense to me, for sure.
All right, Connor, hit us with yours, bro.
What am I hitting? Am I hitting with my least favorite classes?
Yes, sir.
All right. I kind of got the gist, but I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything more specific in there.
Yeah, you're good, dog.
My favorite class, and it is just preference. I don't like how the class was implemented at all, but I do love Rangers. They're my favorite class. I hate that they are not a prepared spell caster like the Paladin is, who is also a half caster, but you just get to pick every level. You have to re-sort them, but I just like the nature, archer vibe of them. I like that the spells they get are reasonably pretty good. I just, in D&D, like how they're implemented. I think once they were updated a little bit with Unearth and Arcana, which I believe now has been published in some books, but with favorite enemy actually giving you more damage to the enemy type, and small different things like that actually made them a little bit better. I still would never play a Beast. I believe it's Beast Master Ranger. That never interested me, but now they have Gloomstalker and stuff, which are obviously a lot better. But I just always liked leaning towards Rogue, having a lot more spells to use, but it is very much nature focused. I always quite liked that. I will say, and I do not mean to just dog on this one PC in particular. However, my least favorite class is probably a little bit of I don't even remember what they're fucking called now. The Tinkerers.
Oh, the Artificer.
Artificer. Don't like them.
I agree. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. I don't mean to just beat the shit out of Bullvest here.
Yeah, I know why you killed him now. You hate gnomes, you hate artificers. I played a gnome artificer. He died within the first couple of games, and Connor was maliciously, intentionally doing that. Now I know.
Okay.
But I can put it to rest.
Yeah, that's
like
good.
Artificers in very, very specific worlds. We were in a mage punk kind of world that was leaned towards artificers actually being beneficial. But other than that, like, why do you want someone who can like whip together a gun in your DM?
Just pull out a Glock.
Right.
Yeah, I made this, dog.
Like, I feel like it for one, as a DM, if somebody wants to play artificer, I wouldn't say no, but I also am going to have to change fundamental parts of the world building to accommodate that, because maybe I was going for like more of a medieval period, and now at least some part of the world's early Renaissance, you know, or at least in some capacity. You know, it doesn't have to, the whole culture doesn't need to develop, but you know, someone's walking around with a fucking gun and a robotic friend. So, you know, did it spawn? I don't think so. I think someone built it, and you need to figure that out. Which is funny, just to say this, I will say I like Warforged, oddly enough. Warforged I think are cool. It makes sense in worlds, for the most part. Like, I could socket Warforged in better than I could find Artificers. And I think part of that's just, like, long-lost technology, which maybe the Artificers are doing that, and he's discovering long-lost technology. But
I agree. I agree, though.
Real quick.
Well, no, I agree because...
Okay.
Oh, wait, what's up? Go ahead.
I cut off Logan to say my piece.
Oh,
okay, you're fine. Okay, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'll remember mine.
Oh,
I wouldn't.
Well, I agree with you because I feel like you can justify like, oh, like Arcane Sigils brought this thing to life and animated it. Where if a dude's just like you said, making a gun, grenades, like making like syringes that like heal people, you just have a dude that's like steampunk in your fantasy game. So at least what it feels like.
It isn't bad, but it's a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always leaned it towards like, so if someone has the companion, like the mechanical companion, instead I'll have it be built out of stone or something like that, and their magic instead empowers it to be like arcane runes that bring it to life, like you were saying, to try and pivot it more from like less from technology and to stay in the world that I'm in. Because I'm like, well, you want to play an artificer, you're like, you want to make an explosive, you're not actually going to make a grenade, but you're going to make a potion that when you shake up and it contacts with somewhere, it like blows up. And so I try and do my best to like keep everything to be like, okay, this is what your class like says you're making, but rather than it being like, yeah, mechanical boots of speed, they're just Hermes boots or something like that, where they have wings. And so I try and do that, but it's like, Artificer makes it hard because some of the subclass, like the Arcane Armor one, they're straight up like, I have an arm cannon. Yeah, I got nothing for you there. I really try, but I ain't got nothing.
Yeah,
literally.
Hey, you know, sometimes you strap a bracelet on, turns out it's a portal to the negative plane, and you could just kind of, you know, just things happen.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Artificers are, I never played one, but I never was interested in it.
I played a blade singing wizard artificer,
what
and we
the
modified
fuck?
We modified the class a little bit.
Yeah, I bet. I fucking
That was fun. That was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's the thing too. You had fun with it, so.
Yeah, and the world was already mage punk when I like picked artificer, because we were my current player character had died, and we had just gone into the town that was like really heavily advanced, and so I was like, oh, I'll just play an artificer and like be from this town, because I didn't really know what I wanted to play next.
Right.
So it ended up working. But if it doesn't fit in the world, like if someone's like, I know we're just like pirates, man, but I'm gonna be an artificer. And
I want to be an Aarakocra artificer, if that's okay. That way it could be an AC-130 just fucking blasting people while flying by.
You also, you said Ranger, when you were talking about Ranger and Beastmaster, I think that Drake Warden is just the superior version of Beastmaster.
Is that from like Fizbin's like Tome of Dragons or whatever it's called, or Book of Dragons? Okay. Because I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I've touched that one, but no.
But that is cool.
It's great. You get a dragon companion. As reactions, it can spit whatever element it has onto your arrows, so that you deal more elements of damage, and it makes you, and once you hit level 7 with them, you can ride the dragon.
Oh,
fuck. Pretty cool.
That is really cool.
What level are we going to be in your new arc? 9?
10.
10, oh, okay.
You should push that up to 11, because then they get a dragon breath too, man.
Yeah, okay.
You should bump those numbers up.
Yeah. Hey, why not 15?
I wouldn't do that, but that I like that, and I like I think Ranger more so than some other classes. Like a lot of its reworks and like new subclasses really caught up, and now it has a lot of cool things. Like that sounds awesome, but I just know Gloomstalker. I want to say there was like Plains Hunter, if I'm not mistaken. Like the plane jumping ranger who's just like, I'm gonna hunt things in every dimension. You know?
I don't know.
Giant Slayer Ranger, I think Giant Slayer is what it is, sucks. It should be really cool, like a really dope monster hunting ranger. Yeah. I don't know what it's actually.
Is that the Colossus Slayer ability that you can get instead of like multi?
There is a subclass specifically for hunting big beast for rangers. I don't remember what it is. It was supposed to be really cool and like really cool for like hunting manticores, dragons, and stuff like that. It blows. It sucks. It is so terribly designed.
Yeah.
And so
it's like mechanically built specifically to suck against them, or like it's just not.
It's useless against everything else. If something is not like huge size or larger, it just you're useless.
Yeah, you're done.
Huge size or larger.
Huge? Yeah. Oh shit!
You're fighting a minotaur and it's just like it's too small.
It's too small, man. It's too small. Yeah, it's one size above large, which is huge, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Yeah, so if it's huge size or it has to be huge size or larger, which makes them super cool late game, but super useless everywhere else.
Fighting goblins in the first town, just like
preferred enemy and preferred terrain is really tough unless you're doing like I think rangers would be really good for rangers would have been really good for Frost Trail. Obviously,
I chose not to do that. I was thinking about it.
Just like you know what environment you're going to be in the entire time, kind of deal. And so then favorite terrain is actually beneficial. But if you're playing a large scale campaign, like you're probably going to spend 10 sessions in the plains, and then your favorite terrain is just garbage for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, I saw reworks that people suggested to like make something a favorable terrain, so it's like lesser effect, but you had to spend more time there. But I've never implemented it and don't remember how it worked.
Well, I mean, like I think like they've changed some things with the Ranger over the years to make it a little bit better. I just think inherently, like the biggest thing you can do to change the Ranger that'll make it automatically viable with the things they've already changed is changing their spell table. If you just make it literally a paladin, then you're fine. Which is what I did for a home game I did with some of my roommates. I literally was like, yeah, Ranger's dog shit, but you want to play it, let's make it good. So I literally just like, yeah, because it's dumb. It's like a half caster, like warlock, like warlock paladin. It's a half caster, but like it's the shittiest half caster in the game. It's like just why didn't you make it the same?
By a lot, But having the spell Spike Growth makes it worth it to me. So
never forget the spike growth of that slaughter like 80 orcs or whatever.
It was good. It was good.
The OG. All right.
You just start a camp. You just start a stampede. You know. And
let's move on. I think we can get through all of these before we have to go. And anything last minute?
Tell me.
Anything last minute for this?
Oh, I'll just real quick as we're just driving by, I'll lean out the window, just punch Monk in the head one time, and say, I also don't like monks.
Oh yeah, I did. I said the same thing.
Yeah, fuck monks, man. I endorse this message.
Like people have played monks and had fun. Eric, our friend Eric, played Way of the Drunken Master monk and had some fun with it. Master Senpai is what people call them. And it was a fun
monk. Angry alcoholic, but like
that's pretty good. I also want to note the class specifically states they fight as if they're drunk, and every person who ever played one is just like, but I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah, but it's who I am. It's who I am.
Yeah,
you gotta be, man.
No, I think monk. Like I think you're in the bathroom, but I don't like monk mainly because I feel like it has two. Like obviously it's fantasy. That's what I was telling Logan. It's obviously fantasy, but I think there's just too many things that make no fucking sense. Why like any person who just magically or like just out of nowhere be like, yeah, I'm into all poison and can never be like knocked unconscious. I also like fall really slow, and I just like, and it's just like there's so much shit. I speak all languages. I'm like that. Nothing actually makes sense as to why you'd be able to just do this.
Use the power of your chi or ki in this case to do. Yeah.
But hey, if you like Monk,
achieve Nirvana, that's on you.
If you like Monk, hey, more power to you. I think some of the reworks they're gonna do might make it a little bit better. I think Monk is up there with Rogue and being one of the best classes, which is why I hate it, because it's just like so much shit and it just does whatever it wants. And I'm like, God, I'm like, fuck it. It's really good. It's why I don't like it. So let's just leave it at that.
I remember UA tried to make psionics work. There's a class that was gonna be like a psychic. The problem with him. And that's what made me realize half of his abilities were just what Monk does.
Yeah.
Like, that's then like more fantastical, and I was just like, all right, so Monk's like pushing on the ceiling of what's acceptable.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. And then they were trying to release another class that just destroyed the ceiling and then fucking into the sky. I don't think we need to talk much necessarily about personality and background. I feel like we hit that a lot in the beginning, kind of where you just have your backstories for the most part, just dictate a lot of this stuff. I find that a lot of this stuff, and I will say we've been playing for many years, and so I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of more
30.
None of us are that old.
Well, you didn't have to tell him.
I missed a few birthdays.
I think that backgrounds are a great jumping off point for new players, and I definitely think that it's a really good tool for new players and for people getting into the game, and for those that kind of need that helping hand when it comes to building and fleshing out their characters. But I find that when you play the game for when you're playing D&D for many years, or RPGs in general, you find you can start to like have a more in-depth look at your characters and kind of have much more understanding as to where you can start and kind of flesh them out. So we won't really go over the backgrounds, which honestly, as we're talking about this stuff, it's kind of changed from creating compelling characters to like, what the fuck do we do and what do we like? So we'll see.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't go into this thinking we were about to design a character.
No, I realized I like what we're doing. I just realized the title and kind of what I went into this thinking are a couple different things, but that's okay. So
chaos abound.
Yeah, equipment. So generally, I don't like to for my players. Like, obviously, you have your class. You have your classes that explain, oh, you have this certain stuff. Like, that's cool. Like I said, I feel like a lot of the stuff in the player's handbook and whatnot is really good for like very early on players, and just kind of holds your hand for a lot of that stuff for people who are getting into tabletop RPG. I kind of wish that there was like a whole nother section of the player's handbook, and maybe there will be in the upcoming edition, but like of veteran players, and maybe they just assume people who like they'll just do whatever the fuck they want, so they don't even bother doing it. But I wish that there was more advanced kind of later years of you playing these things and give you options. And I feel like they do have that. It's in the DMG though, and I've never read the DMG, and I rarely ever do because I just kind of send it, and like obviously I refer to it for like magical items and stuff. But they apparently have a lot of cool abilities and rules and stuff. But I'm just like, for me, it's so bogged down, and there's so much like filler of like world building stuff that I don't really get too much into, that I don't find that stuff. And I think it'd be cool if they added a lot more of those kind of unique rulings and stuff into the player's handbook. That way it's more accessible. Because when I think of like playing / like creating characters, I think player's handbook. DMG, I think solely like you're building worlds and like encounters, which I do on my own, so I don't really touch it.
Right. Well, as far as equipment goes, as far as I ever really care, what's the game say you get? Just add that. You get to pick between a quarterstaff or a dagger. Cool. You have this much money. Your background says you get this too. If you're doing an alternate background, normally I'll just direct a player to use whatever background on the list items that makes sense to you. Like, you made your custom thing, but maybe like Outlander makes sense, as Outlander's very popular. Yeah, just add that stuff to your backpack too. Yeah. And that's as far as I ever really go with equipment. I might splash in some cash. Or if we're doing certain later levels, maybe you might have you have studded leather now, and pick a minor magical item that we're gonna negotiate as if we're exchanging hostages. I mean, it's like, no, you can't have the +3 greatsword that kills God. All right, you have to tone it down a little bit. Actually, I will say, for the most part, people are not unreasonable with those magic items. But no, with equipment, I really don't get that much into it. I encourage people to have something in their background. Maybe they want to lock it from their family, or they want to have something there. That is, in my mind, that's not even equipment. That is backstory you're carrying with you. It can be lost, but that's a character thing, But equipment's just, again, I go through the equipment session specifically. I'll go through in 5 minutes and just jot down what I have. There's rolling for money on some of those tables, so if depending on what's happening, I'll either roll for it or we'll figure out what the money is, and that's it. For me, the equipment is something that I would love to get in the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the like, if you're level 5, I would can at least my sword at least be magical. You know, that'd be cool. But that's about it.
Like if anything like that, like plate armor at a certain point too, where it's just like it would have been something I would have bought. Like if I start with less gold in order to get plate armor, it would have been something as a level 8 adventure or level 10 adventure that I would have invested into.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
So yeah, I think.
Go ahead, Logan.
I was just saying, same thing for equipment for me. Is just like whatever, if you're starting beyond level 1, whatever makes sense for upgrades of what you get for the class. Like, yeah, you get leather armor, you get studded leather armor or something like that. But yeah, I very rarely go through equipment. I only did it one time where I deep dived into it, and that was for my Witch Knight. Because, I was min-maxing.
Yeah, we know that bug.
I had to make sure I could min-max equipment too, every single thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, I agree. I think that I do like to. If players, depending on what level they start out, want certain things, like cool, or if they want to exchange certain things, cool. But yeah, I would say equipment isn't too. I think the biggest thing for this is the starting out magical item. I think that that's the probably biggest tailored thing that we do when it comes to equipment. Everything else, just choose it and then you just get it. Yeah, like you were saying, Connor, just get it in the game.
Yeah.
Like you have your starting stuff that like covers the basics, like rations, torches, weapons. Yeah. But then choose your magical item. All right, let's continue. Let's move on. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lastly, and then feats. We'll just talk about feats real quick, and then we'll call.
Alert is the greatest feat known to mankind.
Holy shit! What is he saying?
Alert is a really good feat.
Alert is so good. It's so nice. It's so wonderful. I love it, and I take it on almost every character that I play.
I will say this, since it's been brought up, I didn't realize, I think a lot of us, I know all of us, surprise is a very loose thing in D&D. Different DMs do it differently. Sometimes it's a free attack you get, then initiative starts, so it's something like that, or whatever. Right. But because, again, Baldur's Gate's come out, we have to talk about it. Getting the alert feat on certain characters is really good, because you get ambushed all the time, except that character doesn't get ambushed. Also, that character just gets there. Nobody gets free attacks on you on that particular person. They are alert. They are able to act on that turn. Which they do a very broke down part.
And deaf does not happen with. You can't be blinded or deafened while awake with alert as well.
Right. Yeah. It's. I know they do some feats slightly differently, and you can destroy the game very easily in that, and I love it. But alert is really goddamn good. I think I know my ranger that I played. He had the alert feat for sure. It's just good.
Well, so I think the alert. Obviously, the alert has you can't be surprised while you're conscious. Other creatures don't gain advantage on attack rolls against you as a result of being hidden from you. So I've only ever remembered alert being the +5 to.
No.
Oh wait, alert. I thought
alert, baby.
I thought alert was you gained a bonus to passive perception, and I thought that was it. So I have been remembering this completely wrong. Alert is really good.
Oh,
I thought it was different. Yeah, cool.
Well, it's ranger or rogue being the main two that I think for those two specifically, this is super good. Being for instance, if you're doing a surprise, a singular attack, and then initiatives roll type thing, which sometimes we do. Having alert in that situation, you stab them, then you roll really high on initiative, and then maybe somebody gets to move before you get to do whatever you did again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just the ranger being the actual scout of the party. Something happens, you're first up there. You're able to react to it before shit truly hits the fan. Even if the rest of your party can't, you could get yourself in a better position. Maybe eliminate somebody who's about to do something for the betterment of your party, and then combat happens.
Yeah, dude, that's a really good feat.
Or Sentinel, or you just get the Sentinel feat, and it doesn't matter what's coming. You're beating the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Toughness is another nice feat. It's very basic, but I believe you get 2 extra HP every single level you take you have in the class.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, does it also give you +1 con?
Toughness. I'm looking right now. T.
That's too many T's. I think it only has
tough. Yeah, your hit point increases by an amount equal to twice your level. Wait, hold on. Your hit point max increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit point maximum increases by an additional 2. It does not give you con.
Yeah. Okay, I might have been mistaken with something else then.
Shield
But
Master.
still,
Shield Master.
Shield Master.
Shield Master, a feat I've never taken until the last campaign.
And you made
Just kiss,
great
dude.
use of it.
I love Shield Master.
It's half the reason I didn't barbecue your ass.
Yeah, dude. Ooh.
Shield Master strong. I would just
Shield Master is super good.
And I also, like I mentioned earlier, skilled. I think skilled's really cool.
Skilled,
Like if you're not really vibing, if your character that you've made and isn't really vibing with a lot of the other feats, I think skilled, you just can't go wrong. Like if you're not trying to increase your overall stats, but you want to increase your versatility with skill checks, I think that skilled is also just super strong.
I will also say, not quite feats, but there's nothing wrong with taking the ability score improvement too. Because I never do. But yeah, being like, you have 18 charisma as a sorcerer, getting to 20 charisma as a sorcerer is bonkers good, especially if you're a dexterity or charisma class, because dexterity is used all the time, charisma is used very often.
Right.
You're better at so many things, especially your main way of dealing damage.
I also really like ability score improvements when you do have those threshold stats where it's like a 13.
Yeah.
Like you have a couple of those and you want to round them out. Where if you have two like teetering stats that are like both like 13 or something, and they're about to hit that next thing, that's when ability score improvement is really good. Like ability score improvement, like you were saying, getting an 18 to a 20 is really good. But if you have two stats and you can break those points up and get two different things plus one more, that is honestly
break an 11 and a 13 up to a 12 and 14.
So nice, man. Yeah. It feels so good to just be like, I'm now even across the board. Like I had a +0 or a +1, and now I'm just like +1, +2. It feels so good.
I'll be honest. I am like, I wouldn't say OCD, but I'm particular enough. If my dump stat was an odd number, I might throw it at my dump stat. You know, it's just like I don't need my strength to go from 9 to 10, but
yeah.
I could bring that up. Then I guess I'll also bring up, whatever's actually important by one.
Kind of helps round it out a little bit. Takes
dual wielder. That's a feat I really like.
I never really messed with dual wielding at all in this game. Like I don't think ever. So, but I know dual wielder is good because I know I've seen rogues make handy use of it.
Well, so I really. What's up?
Real nice plate armor. It's real nice in plate armor because it bumps your AC to 19. You get long swords. You run out of smites as bonus actions, and then you just have a second sword you can be beating people with.
Yeah, I really like feats because I really do like how they do just add an intricate level to one combat or social interactions depending on what they are. I also really like them too because it can kind of flesh out a character a lot more in something that they're maybe trying to you're trying to kind of hone in on when it comes to backstory stuff or something, like maybe like crossbow expert or like charger or something. It's like, traditionally charger is not a feat you necessarily take. It's like you run forward, you can make an attack, do something cool or unique or whatever, and it's kind of cool to like make a reason why your character would have that. And I think it'd be actually kind of interesting to then I was thinking about this earlier, Logan, when you mentioned level 1 feats. People would get feats at level 1 or whatever, or whenever, or Connor, or whoever it was that said it.
One of us. My memory don't work good.
Yeah, but I think it'd be cool if we maybe start implementing that, but maybe like a varied feat where it's like you get the alert feat, but instead of all 3, you get like one of the 3 or something. So like you get a feat, but it's not like breaking to the point of level 1 getting a whole feat, and if you start at level 5 then you have 2 feats or something like that, right?
Yeah, so you just take part of that,
exactly,
like the description, whatever, especially a feat like that which does a couple small things. Take the small thing, add it on. Yeah, as part of the background feature. Because again, it's another thing that the Star Wars system does well is I think all their backgrounds are substantial. And then also the fucking free feat's really good. Here, I would say, like, give everybody, like, really depends on the feat, because tough, as we just said, you can't really go, +1 for everything, Yeah. You could, but, like, for abilities that make the character shine more, like, if someone wants to use actor, or someone wants to use something like Silver Tongue, or someone wants to be, like, well, probably not Warcaster, that's pretty fucking specific on what it does. But, if you want to do things like that, yeah.
All right, Corey, sounds good, bro. Thanks for hanging. Yeah, get one more pet Nox pet before you leave. No, I agree,
Right.
and I think that just depends on what it is. But even I think, yeah, like for tough, I think that starting just with like tough as a feat, that's not super crazy. Like it is, but it's not. Where if like you really wanted to if you want to talk to your DM. But honestly, all this stuff just boils down to talking to your DM and session 0 and stuff.
Secrets. Make secrets. Don't let the DM know.
Yeah, just come in with a min-max to fucking just all hell character and then be like, yeah, wait, but I'm telling you, you can't say no.
I made Gorthrax the Destroyer. You guys are level 5? Well, I'm level 12.
Alright.
It's a secret feat. It adds 7 levels.
Alright.
Multiclassing is superior. I just want to toss that in as a serial multiclasser.
I think that, okay, hey, real quick before we end it here, I think multiclassing should have much more detriments than they do. Not in the sense of like, I think that you jumping into a class should not get everything that class has. That's my hot take. I think
they don't. Yeah.
They do. If you're a rogue and you wanted to go to a sorcerer, the only thing that it negates is you can't cross over your spell slots. Other than that, everything.
No, but you don't get everything. Like
you don't get proficiency.
There's a whole
you can't get proficiencies. Oh no, but you can get sneak attack. It doesn't fucking matter. Oh, you can't.
You also get less spells if you dip into another class too.
No, but this is the thing. The only thing, I'm reading it right here, multiclassing. The only thing that changes is that you actually your hit dice, you get all of that. Proficiency bonus, it's basically that's nothing. Proficiencies, you don't gain all of them, which like that is such a minuscule thing, it doesn't actually matter that much. And then it says class features, extra attacks, you don't get to stack those. Oh well, like that just makes sense. Unarmored defense, if you already have it, you can't have 2 of it. And then spell casting, it doesn't bleed over. If you're 2 different spellcasters multi-class. Other than that, if you're
intelligence or charisma,
if you jump into another class, you get everything they get. The only downside drawback to doing that is you don't obviously get a hit level 20 or anything higher up, and you're splitting your levels. But other than that, a lot of the early class features, like just taking 1 level in something, can be incredibly good.
Well, I think that's more of a failure on class design. There is almost no reason to go past level 10 in any class.
No, exactly.
I've never been past level 10 in a single class.
Yeah,
I have a campaign at level 18.
Yeah. But I just mean like there's wizards and sorcerers perhaps because you get spells, and that's really good. And that's because spellcasters do have that just innate ability to make their character stronger because they just get new spells. But everybody else, like if you're playing a fighter, like, you might want to look at other classes at a certain level because you just get more you can do. Your class grows and gets stronger, but also just changes a little. You have more you can do. There's also prerequisites to multi-classing. You have to have a certain amount of skills.
Well, and I think
like
that
certain ability scores.
I think that's where my gripe is. I feel like a lot of these should be different. I feel like it literally to multi-class you need a 13. I feel like that is such a bare minimum thing. I think that it should be like 15 or 16 to multi-class because I feel like that gives you enough. I think that validates enough that if you have, like for instance, like if you need 16 dexterity to be a rogue, I think that makes enough sense because you have enough of that like baseline of being dexterous to then dabble in dexterity. Because if you just have a 13 dex, you can be a dog shit rogue and you can have shit stealth.
That's okay being a dog shit rogue,
Yeah,
you know?
bad rogue, man. Hey, you're talking like a monoclassist over here.
Bro, because I think...
Is your wizard just a wizard, bro?
Yeah.
Yes, literally yes.
Fucking gnome apologist over here.
Wait, hold on.
No, hey,
Logan, I don't want you to say anything because you don't ground your shit, man. You're just like min-max. In the sense of just
I literally played the shittiest class combination known to mankind and was healing with like a +0 bonus to my heals in your last campaign and my last 3 characters.
Yeah, but you did some crazy shit. What did Morello fucking can redirect shit with his fighter, but then also was a cleric to heal?
Honestly, Cloud Rune is chef's kiss. The fact that you can only use it once per day is kind of booty, but I also understand.
It's also you made a very unique character. You had a fighter.
I literally flipped through both the books and went, this class looks fun. Flipped through the other book, went, this looks fun, and then I made Morella. That was the way that because I was like, I don't know what to play in this campaign.
Yeah, well,
like,
I will say,
options,
I will say, as far as like potential next round when when Jared's picking up the mantle and continuing the story, like when I was looking at different characters and such, my first thought was multiclassing, just because like nothing I wanted fits a class. And it's like, if I could just combine and mix these, because I want something from here, I want something from here, and that meet somewhere in the middle of what I'm looking for, you know?
This is my thing, is I'm not saying multiclassing is shit, or it's not fun, or it's not dope. What I'm saying is, I think the prerequisites to multiclass, to completely jump into another class altogether, randomly, for it to have such low requirements, and for you to be able to just skyrocket your character, and then make them so broad, and cover so many aspects, is what kills it for me in that sense. Like I'm saying, I think the prerequisite should be higher, and I think a couple things you shouldn't be able to take per se. I'm not saying I'm going to deny people multiclassing. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to change. I just think personally, for you to be like a sorcerer and then be like, I'm taking 1 level in rogue just so I can get a shit ton of proficiencies, expertise, and that's it, and then keep on my sorcerer track. It's just like the power scale is so incredibly like skewed. And then I think that'd be fine if there was better prerequisites to do it. Like maybe if it was like I said, 16 decks, where it's like, oh, okay, my character has 13 decks. Let me spend a couple ability score improvements to get there. And then it's like, okay, not to say you earned it, but it's like, okay, I'm there now. Whereas like, if you're just like, yo, I'm sub-average in this thing, but it's like a whole class's stat line, I'm gonna dabble. And it just seems like takes away.
I get that, but how often do you have 2 16s?
Well, that's but I think that's what gives you more. That's what gives power back to ability score improvements, because everyone takes feats generally because it's just like the ability score improvement we mentioned, like you know, it can bolster some things. But I think if it was like, hey, I'm level 1, my dex is like 13, but I need a 16, or hey, my dex is like 14, I need a 16. I level 4, I'm gonna go ahead and use my ability score improvement so I can unlock something instead of it just being like, oh, another +1. That's all I'm saying. I think multiclassing is sick. I think you can make some dope-ass builds. I really enjoy it. You can also min-max like Logan does every single time, which is cool. I just think, for me, I wish it was grounded more in actual having to, like, achieve up to a certain point to be able to dabble, instead of like, yo, dude, my character woke up one day, now he's a fucking sorcerer. But I think for me, what kind of saves multiclassing is when we start at higher levels and then you come in multiclass, because then you can be like, in my backstory, this is what happened and this is what made sense. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But if it's like a campaign where it's like, oh, I went 5 levels fighter, now I'm going 1 level paladin, and it's just been one long rest, it's like, that's kind of weird. But I
think story-wise to multiclass too is really like having like, for this story reason, I have stepped into this multi-class, makes it a lot.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I like breaking characters and being forced into be warlocks, inadvertently.
Well, I like Sir Denrick even in the Frost Realm. I mean, he's multi-classing, but he's doing it from a story aspect, and there's build up to it. He hasn't leveled up yet, or actually he did, but like then he took level 1 in Paladin. But I also feel like Paladin doesn't ramp super crazy. Paladin doesn't even get spells until I think 2nd or 3rd level, and like all he gets right now is like lay on hands and a couple things, you know. I'm talking about those classes where like if you were to become a sorcerer, he's now immediately has meta magic, all this crazy shit. So anyway, we're already bleeding way past time, so we gotta close this out. But
I think sorcerer gets to that too as well.
Does it?
Yeah, but still.
Yes.
I think almost every class gets to that too. But anyways, I get.
Yeah. I think multiclassing is sick. I do. I just think that there should be just a little bit more balance to it.
I agree.
Which I actually think that they are kind of tackling. And I 100% agree with you, though, Connor, because, like, it's hard to be, like, make a class and it functionally ramp up and be fun early on to later on. And then, like, balance it also to, like, multiclassing. Because then they'd have to basically then go through every class and revise it and be like, okay, this is... And it'd be a lot of work. I mean, they get paid to do it, so wizards fucking do it, but... Anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on them too.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But anyway, that's all we have for tonight. We went a little bit longer than usual, but that's okay. We thank you all for hanging out with us. Sunday we have our next episode in the Redmire Hunt arc, which may or may not be the conclusion. If it is, She's gonna get
It
real
really,
weird.
I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna come down to some dice rolls, whether
Well,
it's the last session or it's not.
I was gonna say actually, it's getting weird anyway. So tune in on Sunday for that. But until next time, we appreciate everyone for hanging out, and Nox appreciates all the pets, and we will catch you later.
Outro music.